Mercedes slammed for huge mistakes. The Dutch Grand Prix was a messy and interesting race, but it was a terrible one for the Silver Arrows, who made several key errors in their pit wall to end up being in a much worse position than they should have. To top it all off, Russell didn't even finish the race, and he was forecast for a podium, as he said. Is this a sign for a change in Brackley, or was it all just a blip that they can fix? For quite a while now, our attention during F1 races hasn't primarily been on the winner, but on the very interesting contest for the title of second best team. And let me tell you, this battle is going to be one to watch until the end. Verstappen secured a victory in Zandvoort, but it wasn't entirely compelling, primarily because the unpredictable Dutch weather led to multiple pit stops and a 50-minute red flag pause due to a heavy downpour with just 8 laps remaining. The race eventually resumed with a rolling start, after which only 6 laps were raced, given that 2 laps had already been covered behind a safety car. An uplifting moment was Fernando Alonso's return to the podium, which for many fans was a refreshing sight given his status as a fan favourite. Pierre Gasly's unexpected appearance at P3 was another twist, a result of a 5-second penalty imposed on Perez for exceeding the speed limit in the pit lane. However, the Grand Prix in Zandvoort spotlighted Mercedes' questionable race strategy, leading to their underwhelming performance. Mercedes confessed that its approach during the rain-hit early stages of the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort was a missed chance for a more favourable outcome, as the W14 showcased its prowess under wet and varying conditions, which was evident from its post-restart acceleration on the moist track, and earlier when George Russell outpaced Lando Norris during the 3rd lap, momentarily leading the race. Nonetheless, troubles began brewing for Mercedes as they opted against tweaking their strategy when rain started at the end of the initial lap. They gambled, expecting the rain to either halt shortly or remain mild enough to avoid the necessity of switching to intermediate tyres. Unfortunately, this gamble did not pay off, as the W14s found it challenging to navigate the dampened track on slick tyres. This resulted in Lewis Hamilton heading for the pits in the 3rd lap, followed by Russell in the subsequent lap. Once the track conditions improved and they reverted to slick tyres, both drivers found themselves at the back of the grid at 16th and 18th positions respectively. Mercedes saw its gap to Aston Martin for 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship shrink by 11 points heading into next week's Italian Grand Prix at Monza, with a 40-point gap. Although the race did afford some recovery opportunities, with Hamilton managing a 6th place finish, Russell's hopes were dashed twice, once due to a collision with Yuki Tsunoda before the red flag, and later a controversial racing incident with Norris ended his participation. Post-race, a disappointed Russell did not talk about his personal setbacks, but rather criticized the team's early race decisions. The race was over before it really got started, he said. I think the information we had regarding the weather was totally wrong. We thought the rain was going to last for a couple of minutes, and it clearly lasted for longer. That was a real shame. As a team, we need to review because we are getting the information coming into us, and it was misjudged. The weather, it's not anything to do with racing engineering. It was clearly just a weather misinterpretation, and that ruined our afternoon. We really need to look into what happened, why the others decided to pit, what information they maybe had that we didn't, and make sure we don't make the same mistake again. Asked whether he could have made the call to pit himself, Russell added, "They told me it's going to be 2 minutes and I could manage for 2 minutes in those conditions, but it just got heavier and heavier and it lasted for 10 minutes. So it's a joint effort. It was a real shame, to be honest, that it happened this way, but live and learn." In my opinion, this situation underlines Mercedes' misjudgment, seemingly making a mistake by not predicting the weather correctly, leading them to persist with slick tyres far longer than they should have. There are moments when reliance on technology should not be the case, and instead it's better to leave the decision to the simplest of things, the human eye. Surprisingly, this season the Mercedes pit wall has been characterized by several questionable strategic decisions, which have significantly impacted their points tally, and while the Ferrari pit wall has often been the team for which many memes are created, Mercedes' recent decisions don't place them on a much higher pedestal. Many other teams made the right calls under similar circumstances, and although this particular scenario was unique and there might be some validity to their justification, it's evident that Mercedes has made more than a few strategic blunders in recent times than what is normal for them. However, it's worth noting that when a car showcases superior performance relative to its competitors, strategizing becomes a simpler task for the pit wall, and in such such circumstances, drivers appear to effortlessly excel in tyre management, which is something very evident in Max Verstappen's case. Wolff didn't hold off on words as well, saying they got it completely wrong and that they will review the situation thoroughly this week before the Monza race. I think we stayed out catastrophically too long. We got it completely wrong, Wolff admitted to Sky Sports F1. We will review thoroughly. The situation is never one person or one department. It is the communications between driver, pit wall, strategy, weather, and then all of us taking decisions. That was absolutely subpar from all of us, and that includes me. It's good when it hurts. When it stings, it sticks. The scope of Wolff's disappointment stemmed from the fact that Mercedes actually had a quick car in Zandvoort, throwing away a possible podium for Russell, while Hamilton too felt he had the pace to challenge for a win. It's annoying because the car had really good pace, and then from there on it was just recovering as good as we could. We saw at the end on the intermediates, George had Max's pace and Lewis was very strong behind Ferrari's Carlos Sainz. We could have been much further ahead, but I'd rather have good pace, a fast race car and a mediocre result, even if it hurts and it's still bittersweet because the result is just really bad. It could have been, but that doesn't count in our sport. Mercedes, with its advanced technology and resources, made a glaring error, which was solely their responsibility. Perhaps their minds were still on vacation, but such mistakes have cost them crucial points. They previously adopted a wait-and-see strategy, which worked when they had a superior car, allowing for easy recoveries. Now, as they blend with the rest of the field, this passive approach is no longer viable, and they need to adopt the assertiveness demonstrated by Red Bull. Currently, Mercedes trails Red Bull in both performance and tactical execution. Their pit stops and strategic choices have raised eyebrows, especially given their overdependence on technology over real-time decision-making. While Red Bull has displayed apt strategy implementation irrespective of their car's status, Mercedes often seem to coast on their past car excellence, and occasional performance dips are expected in F1, but operational errors are tougher to excuse. Even boasting a stellar driver lineup, Mercedes seems to lag behind Ferrari in strategic decisions. There's increasing chatter suggesting a change at the helm, with James Allison's promotion being discussed. Could benefit Mercedes, as their momentum has all but stopped since losing their primary engine edge. It's imperative for the Brackley-based team to up their game and avoid blatant mistakes like the recent ones, because such blunders won't incentivize Hamilton to renew his contract. A decision many assumed was a given just a few weeks back. With the summer break behind us and Hamilton's commitment for the next season still uncertain, we might witness significant changes in the lineup, possibly including a new face alongside George Russell. Hamilton's quest is clear, an unprecedented 8th world title. Yet achieving this milestone with the current state of Silver Arrow seems an uphill battle. Toto Wolff, however, has indicated a focus on the 2024 contender, so hopefully they'll take Lewis's insights into consideration, aiming for a more competitive edge next season and making the season itself much more interesting to watch. What are your thoughts? Do you think Mercedes can pull it together and not make such mistakes again? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching Racing Zone, and we will see you in the next one.